G'day, I'm Warwick Schiller, and earlier this year, this is my Off The Track Thoroughbred ringer, and earlier this year I posted a video of riding Ringer outside here in the big arena for the first time since I'd had him. I'd had him for probably 6 months by then. I'd done some rides in the round pen and I brought him out here and rode him around, and everybody commented on Ringer how he just hung his head down, swung his legs at the trot, was nice and forward at the trot, nice and forward at the canter, and just really, everybody was amazed at how cool he was about that. And so, I also took him to a horse expo this year, and he was the same, even in front of a big crowd and stuff. And so he's had a couple of months off, and we leave here in a couple of days to go to the World Equestrian Games, and we've got a lovely young trainer from Texas named Becca Tate who's staying with us, and she came out to ride with me, and she's going to look after our place while we're at the World Equestrian Games. And so the other day I had a ride Ringer, and hadn't been ridden for a couple of months. I had to jump on him, I rode him in the round pen, then I had Becca ride him in the round pen, and I just said, bring him out here and cruise him around. And I got the camera up where the camera is right now, and I was going to video, for everybody's viewing pleasure, that Ringer hasn't been ridden for 2 months, and he still cruises around, hangs his head at the trot and the canter, and it all looks great. And Becca was riding him around, and it didn't look that great. He didn't look that relaxed. He kind of had his head a bit upright, kind of like it is there, but even more so, riding around, and I couldn't figure out why he was like that. It's like, oh, maybe I jumped the gun and didn't think he was as good as he had been before or whatever. But I had Murray tied up down the end there, and so Ringer was riding around, and he'd go around that end up there, and when he came down that side, he kind of sped up a little bit. So Becca has done a lot of work with Mustangs. She's done like 10 of those Mustang makeovers, and she's done a lot of work with Mustangs. And because she's a colt starter, she is very careful about not letting a slightly bad situation turn into a bad situation. So when Ringer kind of got up ahead of steam going down that rail over there, she kind of just picked up softly and just put a little bend in him till he came back to a trot, just controlling the situation, just managing this situation, make sure it didn't get out of hand. And I think she stopped at one point, maybe over here, and I said, you know what I might have you do, Becca, is don't worry about that. Ringer's kind of forward, but it's not an anxious kind of forward. So I said, when he goes down, if he speeds up going in there, just go with it. Don't try to influence him in any way. Just go with him. And what was funny was, as soon as she did that, he had been trying to go over to Murray, and so as soon as he did it, he went over to Murray. He did a U-turn, so he's now going to the right. I think she picked up the canter there, but then he came across here, and then he went to go back around to the left, and Becca said, oh, I think he's going to counter canter, but he didn't. He just broke to a trot, balanced himself, picked up the left lead, and because Becca had kind of mentally told herself, I'm just going to go with him. I'm not going to try to influence him in any way. The change was miraculous. Now he's going around hanging his head down and staying there for quite a long time. And this is not a reflection on what Becca was doing, okay? She was doing the smart thing. I'm riding a horse I don't know. He's cantering along and he's getting a bit of a head of steam. I'm just going to make sure this doesn't get out of control. It's not about what Becca was doing. What I want to talk about here is more about the reason Ringer was so good cruising around on that first ride outside is because I wasn't trying to influence him in any way, so he could find his own natural balance. And what Becca had been doing, riding him around, was kind of going down there, but trying to influence that, but she'd also been having an expectation like, oh, I hope he goes around this corner. So she was kind of almost trying to influence him a little bit with her seat. And I don't think at the time he was influenceable, okay? And if you're trying to get a horse to go somewhere with a subtle aid, and they're not going to listen to that subtle aid, I think you're actually getting in their way. So hopefully I'm making sense here, but I just wanted to make the point that I think when you can completely trust your horse and just go with them and not try to influence them anyway, the magic might happen right there. And I probably didn't even realize that's what I was doing with him. And it was watching Becca, and she wasn't struggling with stuff because she wasn't trying to make his head go down or anything, but I was probably struggling behind the camera going, why isn't Ringer just hanging his head like he had done with me? And I didn't realize how many little ways that Becca was subtly trying to influence where he went. And it wasn't until she stopped trying to influence where he went and stayed out of his way that, oh, there's the ringer that I was looking for, the hang in the head and hanging the head at the trot and the lope and really swinging his legs. And there had been times when Becca was riding around, his head would start to hang, but then it would go back up into that little tension position. But after Becca said, hey, dude, I'm coming with you wherever you want to go, I think there's a squirrel across the arena. It wasn't until she said, dude, I'm coming with you wherever you want to go, that all the magic happened. So I'm going to say it again because I think I touched on it a minute ago. I've got so much stuff going in my head about this right now. Is I didn't do anything to Ringer to get him to go around and hang his head down. It wasn't what I did to him that caused that. It's what I didn't do. I didn't try to influence him in any way. I just went with him. My seat wasn't trying to make him go faster or slower than he was. If I was trotting with him. If he was going around a corner, I was going around the corner he was going around. I didn't want less corner. I didn't want more corner. I was just kind of committed to going with him. And like I said, I don't even think I realized that's what I was doing until Becca was trying to influence him slightly, and his whole posture was completely different. And then when Becca started actually just going with him wherever he was going to go, his posture changed completely. So I actually learned something then. I didn't realize how much I wasn't trying to influence, or I didn't realize how much trying to influence him when he's not influenceable would have an effect on the shape of his body. So anyway, thought that was a very interesting outcome to that. So I hope that gives you something to think about. We'll see you guys next time.